Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the gap in episodes. We've had a bunch of stuff going on that we had to get figured out. Nothing too crazy, but just life gets in the way sometimes. Today what we're going to be cooking up is one of our favorite dishes from a restaurant called J. Alexander's. It's their steak Brazzos. It's steak that's seasoned well, diced small into bite-sized pieces, and it's also served with a onion, mushroom, and red wine sauce. So it's fairly straightforward. This is our spin on it. They may make it a little bit different, but the way we make it is easy for us, and it tastes freaking awesome. So what you guys are gonna need is some steak. I've got a pound of beef tips from Omaha Steaks. Just had it in the freezer, so thawed it up. But if you guys are at the grocery store, I'd keep an eye out for either top sirloin or ribeye or whatever is on sale, or whatever your favorite steak cut is. We're gonna be dicing it up into small bite-sized pieces, so even if they have chuck on sale or something, that works awesome. Again, we're gonna have onions and mushrooms. We're gonna slice those up thinly, garlic for a little bit of seasoning, and red wine for the sauce. And then for the seasonings, we're gonna have pepper, salt, and garlic powder. So again, very straightforward, something you guys can whip up in less than half an hour, honestly. The only thing that's gonna take me longer is I've got to bake potatoes in the oven, so that usually takes about an hour and 15 or hour and change. But anyways, let's quit talking and let's get cooking. The first thing that we're gonna wanna do with this beef is to first see how big the sizes are, the chunks in here. Usually they're pretty irregular. So what I like to do is just cut them down to like 1 inch by 1 inch pieces. So now for the seasonings, we're gonna generously, I mean generously, add cracked black pepper, and then the garlic powder, same thing. Can't really over season. I guess you could over season, but probably about half a tablespoon there. And then salt. Salt is actually going to help pull that moisture on this steak to the surface and dry it out a bit, so that we end up not just steaming the steak when we cook it, but it actually will have a good sear on it. So don't be shy here. We can always avoid salt later in the recipe. And then just mix this up so that everybody's got a good coating. I'm actually going to add some more seasoning. Alright, so this is ready. I'm going to clean the counter real quick, and then we're going to move on to slicing our vegetables. Alright, so we've cut onions on this before. So you've got a root side and then a not root side. So we want to cut on the not root side. Just move him over. And then flip him over so you have a flat bottom. And then cut halfway down. And then this allows us to take the skin off. And for this recipe, we don't want any of that. So for this recipe, we're just going to thinly slice. So curl your fingertips in so you don't cut them, and use your knuckles as a guide. For the mushrooms, similar thing. We want them to be similar width, although everything's going to shrink down, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to leave the stems on. If you don't want them, take them off. Totally up to you. But again, we're just going to thinly slice. All right, the last thing we're going to need is garlic. So that's all we need for the vegetables. We're going to head over to the stove and get everything going. All right, so now we're at the stove. What we're going to do is preheat this pan on medium heat. Oop, wrong burner. Do that every time. So we're going to let this come up to temp. Add about a tablespoon of olive oil. And you'll know it's ready when you move the pan around, the oil runs like it's water, so you know it's up to temp. So we're going to cook the beef first. This will put some nice flavoring on the bottom of the pan so that when we add the vegetables, that gets added in. And then at the very end, we'll deglaze. But let's get the meat on here. Try to spread the pieces out so that everybody has a nice surface to get a sear on. Alright, just let them do its thing and then we'll flip them over. It should only take one flip since these things are so small, they're going to cook through really quick. It's been about 2.5 to 3 minutes and these look like they're ready to be flipped. Same thing, we'll give them another 2.5 to 3 minutes. Give it one final stir and we should be good to go. One of the downsides of using frozen meats is you end up with a lot of moisture in here. This kind of is what it is. It won't affect the taste that much. It's more, you just don't get a good sear. Is what it is sometimes. You got to use what you got. This looks good enough for me. We're going to final cook these after all the vegetables. So I'm just going to put this into a separate container here. We're going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil, maybe half, a couple swirls around the pan. We're going to add the vegetables. I'm going to add the mushrooms first. Spread them out a little bit. They're going to reduce down. Add some pepper here. Once they start to reduce down, kind of like this. I'm going to bring it closer. Then we're ready to add the onions in. So we'll make a little spot for them. Give them some pepper. So probably another 2 minutes or so. Then we're going to add the garlic. Alright, let's add the garlic quick before the onions get too far. So make a little spot for the garlic, add a little bit more olive oil. Let that olive oil heat up. Then we're just going to add that garlic right in there, let it cook up. You just want it to cook up until it becomes fragrant, and then we'll mix it in with the onions and mushrooms. You can just start to smell that garlic, so let's mix it in with everybody else. Alright, let's add the steak back in with all the juices and everything that goes with it. Give this a nice stir. We're going to add probably half cup to this. Maybe a cup. Let's err on a cup. Just until it comes up about halfway and all the mixture here. Because we're going to let this sort of braise with the beef and cook off all the alcohol, but also infuse everything with that red wine flavor. So let's just give it one last stir. Keep this at medium. If it starts to really hard boil, reduce it back down. We really only want it to simmer, but we're going to let this simmer for about 5-6 minutes until it starts to thicken up. So we'll let it do its thing. You can see it starting to bubble. So we'll keep an eye on it, keep it at a simmer, and we'll be back in about 6 minutes. I think I've seasoned it to taste. It was, when I first tasted it, it was missing salt, so I added some of that. Again, was still kind of off, so I added an additional couple grinds of black pepper and some more garlic powder. So that helped. So let's see where we're at. Oh yeah, there we go. So up to you guys. We like to thicken this up a little bit. If you want it to be runny like this and just kind of strain the sauce off, you can do that as well. But a nice quick tip is to add some cornstarch. So let me grab that real quick. And do this slowly. I'm going to kind of make a little well here so I can get some free liquid so I can mix it in a lot easier. That's probably a little over a teaspoon. Probably would have been smarter to add it to a separate container and let it fully mix in so you don't have these clumps, but I'm getting hungry and impatient. We'll all survive. But anyways, stir that up. As this cooks in, it will start to thicken. I think we're there. So I'm going to shut the heat off, readjust cameras, and we're going to do tasting, and we're going to be done for the day. We'll see you guys in a minute. Quick and easy, we're already ready for dinner. So that took me probably about an hour, but having to shimmy cameras and everything, and having to do things in series versus chopping vegetables while the meat's cooking, doing things in parallel. So you guys can definitely get this knocked out in half an hour. But let's get into the taste test. So let's see, I'll get a nice piece of mushroom, nice meaty steak piece, and then try to get an onion wrangled in there. Come on. There we go. Oh yeah. Hands down, my favorite flavor combination between steak, mushrooms, onions, and red wine. Always ends up good. Use a ton of salt and pepper. Well, to your taste. We always like a ton of pepper, but definitely a winner in my book. Seriously, whenever there's steak, onions, or mushrooms, I'm in. And of course, potatoes, steak and potatoes. We got 2 baked potatoes. The way I do these is I clean up the potatoes, poke holes in them with a fork, spray them with some olive oil, or if you just have regular olive oil, just lather them down, put some salt on top. In an oven at 415 for an hour and 15 minutes. Perfect every freaking time. And then we dress them up with sour cream cheese and bacon, of course. But always a good combination with this as well. But anyways, give this a try. If you have the opportunity to get a better cut of steak, definitely go for it. Just because it's a quick steak, you're not cooking it for a very long time, so if it's a tougher cut of meat, it doesn't have enough time to break down those muscle tissues. But definitely choose the steak that you enjoy most to put in this dish, and you seriously cannot go wrong with steak, onions, and mushrooms and red wine. So that's all the dinner for today. Another tidbit, changing it up on the channel. So the cooking was more, I enjoy cooking, and it's a good way for me to learn how to put the videos together and edit and all that jazz. Learn what we needed to do between getting wireless, I probably just popped the microphone, getting wireless microphones, to figuring out lighting. Sun's going down, so I'm probably losing my good lighting, but that's okay. But we're gonna be changing it up a bit. We are actually going to be getting a puppy here in just about 4 weeks. We're really excited. This house is gonna be turned upside down, but it's gonna be very entertaining. Very good content, we think. But our plan is to, as we're training our new puppy, she's gonna be a yellow lab. Her name is Luna. And I'll figure out how to put a picture in the screen here. Cute as a bug, chowing down every day. The breeder always gives us good news that she's eating away and playing nice with all of her brothers and sisters. But we're going to be doing lots of training with her because we want her to be a well-mannered pup. We've been watching some other YouTube folks to get some good tips there. But we're going to be showing you guys our journey through training Luna. I'm sure we'll have some good days and we'll definitely have some bad days, but we're going to show it all. Be very transparent in that process. Hopefully it helps you guys out if you guys are getting a new puppy. But learn with us. You're learning with us now. But anyways, that's going to do it for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And trust me, we've got some good stuff coming up. We'll see you guys soon.